I remember when these were best of fives back in the day. Just best of threes now. Back when Shopify made these $800 weeklies. That was cool. Spawning in the lower left-hand corner of our signing, we have our Bleed Esports Protoss Nightmare. Just took down Big Daddy Beyond. But now he's got to face the current reigning GSL champion. In the upper right-hand corner, it is Talon's Dark. These guys do play against each other quite a bit. I feel like just about every single KSL, these guys hit each other in a quarterfinals or a semifinals or something. I assume the ESL Open Cups are no different. Haven't been able to cast a ton of the Korean ones lately, but wouldn't surprise me if this happens a lot here too. Clearly it does happen. These guys play against each other so much. I would say Dark probably has a pretty decent winning record. But I have seen Nightmare take games. I have seen him take series. Even seen him 2-0 Dark in these matches before. So, the possibility is there for Nightmare to get what I would consider an upset, but kind of just a slight upset. Not a huge upset. Even though Dark is, just one GSL. Didn't get to watch those finals, unfortunately. It's just too late. Stayed up for the semis, but I couldn't degen enough for the finals. Really hard to go to work the next day when you stay up till 6 o'clock in the morning watching StarCraft. Stargate opener here for Nightmare. Pretty straightforward stuff. So a lot of these games are going to come down to what, whether or not Dark wants to kind of cheese or be aggressive in the early game, and how Nightmare wants to try to essentially just do damage to Dark, right? Like, he needs to... I think Nightmare needs to get something done to Dark, whether it's hitting early with an attack, or trying to get, like, Glaive to Depths in, or just get good harassment done with Oracles. He's got to weaken Dark in the early game so that he can, I don't know, have a better shot later on. And Dark can sometimes leave himself really susceptible to that stuff. It's just hard to know when Dark is in one of those states, right? Sometimes I'll see the Adepts come over and Dark just has nothing. He's got like slow Lings and Queens, and he's got like a whole game plan. It's just predicated on not getting hit with Glaive to Depths. And they'll just kill him. Straight up, outright kill him. Sometimes Glaive to Depths will come over and there's like 40 roaches. And they shade in, and then they die, and then Dark goes and counterattacks and wins the game with roaches and queens and stuff. Because he's insane, and it's really difficult to know what he's going to do or what he's planning on. And it can make the job really hard for Nightmare. I feel like as Nightmare, you gotta make a choice and go for it. But also try to keep tabs on Dark, keep tabs on what he's doing. The Oracles can be really good for that. And I think that's going to be their main job rather than trying to kill drones, which it's always nice to kill drones, but with Dark, you gotta know where he's at. You gotta be scouting constantly and trying to figure out what he's doing. I need to post more cat pictures. I take so many pictures of this cat, but I don't always post them. I'm really bad at posting. I'm a bad poster, guys. I was going through like my hiking pictures from last year. I haven't been on a hike. I've been on one hike this year so far. Hopefully I'm going to go on a hike next week, but I've only been on one hike this year. But I was looking at old hiking pictures from last year, and I realized there's a whole hike that I just didn't post any pictures from. And it was like my favorite hike. I think it was my favorite hike from last year, and I didn't post a single picture from it. I took so many good pictures on that hike. 100 different flower pictures, but didn't post any of them. I was like, damn, I really missed out. It does look like Dark's going to stick on the Ling Bane for now. He does have some roaches coming out, but +1 melee is on the way. So like a Roach Ravager Ling Bane style here. And Nightmare, he's getting Blink, he's getting +1, but he's not being aggressive with Stalkers at all so far. Is that a second Robo on the way? It is, with the Robo Bay coming up in the main. So going for a similar style to what we saw him go against Beyond on this very map, actually. It's going to be Blink Stalkers into, I imagine, Charge with Colossi coming out. It's funny, Blink Colossus was like a niche style for such a long time in this matchup. I remember Estrella would go Blink with Colossi, and it was like, oh, look, he's doing this weird, using this weird tech. Nobody does that. Nobody does Blink Colossus. And now it's like super common. I don't know, I kind of love it. I love how the metas shift. There hasn't even been that many, like, changes. I don't think it was a patch that made Blink Stalkers more common. I think it was just Hero being like, nah, they're really good, dude. Ooh, these stasis traps are nasty. A bunch of Lings and a bunch of Roaches getting caught. This is still not a lot of Stalkers, though, so they're going to have to still be very careful as they're trying to retreat and trim off as many Lings as they can. Roach speed is done, so the Roaches are competitively fast with the Stalkers. Oh my god, I'll blink forward. More Lings are here, though. Nightmare, be careful, buddy. We'll lose a couple of these Stalkers on the retreat. Does feel like Dark wants to attack. He's got Roach, or he got Banelings morphing. But 2 Colossi are out. Thermal Lance is not quite done yet, but they can still be very good against these Lings. And I feel like Dark is not going to have enough here to crack this base. He's going to go for it anyways. Hold the phone. Banelings coming in from the top side. They do get grabbed there as Lings try to come in as well. But at the same time, Dark, he's killing this base. So while Nightmare defends this probe line up top on top of that ramp, Dark just kills the base and he's going to back up. Yeah, he'll lose some Roaches at the same time. He's going to get in here with the Lings now. Oh my god, the shield battery is depowered because the Banelings killed the pylon powering it. And 11 probes go down just like that. The natural does get walled in time. But this is so good for Dark. Killing the 4th base is huge. And Nightmare just, he overcommitted, I think, to defending this mineral line. I feel like you just run the probes down to the 3rd. Or down to the 4th. And just defend this 4th. And I think he's in a good spot. But that's such a hard call to make in the moment. Got to figure out what it is you want to defend. What your priorities are. And he ended up losing a base for it. And now Dark, he's got a hive on the way. He is chilling on 5 bases. 71 drones. Not a huge drone count, but enough to keep him going. And it feels like Dark's just in a great spot. Now, that being said, Nightmare still has very good tech. He still has the 2 Colossi. He's got Storm on the way, Charge on the way. He's going to be getting into a very strong army. It's just going to be so much smaller of an army for a while here as Dark is fully maxed. Oh, and he's got so many Banelings up here. So many Banelings, Tasteless. He's got more down here as well with the Lings, Roaches, and Ravagers. And he's going to posture forward as the Banelings try to come in once again to this 3rd base. A few of them splitting off towards the natural. Lings coming in now as well. They will get minced up. But the 4th base dies again. 14 more probes going down here as Dark just trades out. The Storms are nice. The Colossi are nice. 19 and 23 kills. But there's so many dead probes, and Nightmare's economy just getting sent back to 3 bases. against this 5-base Zerg. Adrenal on the way, +3 melee and +1 carapace started up. The Ultra Cavern starts for Dark. He wants to just try to crush Nightmare. Ultras are the thing you do when you're ahead and you want to just win. You're so far ahead, it's basically impossible to throw. Then you go Ultras. Nightmare tried to split his army in case Dark decides to come back in. Dark is fully maxed, just getting all the upgrades right now. I do feel like Nightmare's army is looking quite strong. He's got a very powerful army, and he's actually been pumping out Immortals. He didn't scout the Ultra Cavern. I think he just knows Dark. Nightmare's army is very scary. The thing is, if Nightmare moves out, I feel like Dark is going to counterattack. That's a tough spot for Nightmare to be in. God, look at this creep spread, too. Just the middle of the map the whole way across. I love that Dark is expanding on the top and bottom side here. I think it's a really good idea, because if Nightmare decides to pick a path and go, if Dark's got expansions on both sides, he can always just pull drones, send drones to the other side of the map, buy some time, wait until he gets his good units out. He's morphing a bunch of Dropper Lords right now. He's getting into a Spire. I would not hate to see some Vipers coming out. He does not have any Vipers. I think Vipers could be really, really handy. Nightmare's trying to get into air. I feel like this is the wrong choice for Nightmare. I know he likes to do this. I know he likes to get into the Fleet Beacon, get into a couple extra Stargates. He's got +1 on the way, but I feel like right now he's got a powerful ground army that's just much better tech than what Dark's got out. I think he's got to use that. I think he really needs to force some fighting, because Dark's bank is just going to build and build and build. Oh my god. Oh, but the Lings getting in the Dropper Lords, and these are +3 melee Adrenal Lings, guys. They are going to just destroy all of this. Banelings crashing in, Lings wreaking havoc. Nightmare's base is in shambles, dude. And yes, he'll clean this up, but like, at what cost? Well, we know the cost. It's 40 probes going down. Nightmare down to 38 workers. The Lings continuing to try to be annoying here. There's some in the Dropper Lord. There's some burrowed. This Warp Prism's like, I can get that kind of damage done too. I got this, don't worry. And then it dies promptly. RIP. Turns out Dropper Lords are better than Prisms, who knew? No, those guys didn't do too much. I mean, even losing this here, so painful for Nightmare. I feel like Nightmare's got one shot, and it's to build as many units as he can and just go for a push. But Dark's got the Ultras out. Oh my god! There's 9 Ultras on the field right now. That is insane. Actually fully insane. Lings are going to try to get into this base. They will succeed in getting into that base. These Ultras. I mean, Nightmare has 3 carriers out. So there's that. I will say 3 carriers is about the minimum for carriers to be moderately useful. Hydrogen going down now for Dark. He does already have a Spire. I wouldn't hate to see him start up like +1 attack on the Spire. I swear I saw him throwing down, yeah. I feel like +1 attack on the Spire could be good. Could refuel some of this army with Corruptors and just really bop these carriers. Pretty sure Banelings just exploded on the rocks. Pretty sure that's what just happened over here. Turns out even Dark can make mistakes. Even the GSL champion can make mistakes. That's a nice observer for Nightmare. Nightmare's army is huge. It's a big army. but he's just chilling. He's trying to force Dark to come in, but Dark is just sucking up money on the other side of the map right now. Trying to find a way in. Okay, there's another Spire on the way. Second Spire, as well as double Lurker Den. Dark wants to get both Lurker upgrades at the same time. He's going for it. Stasis Trap, I don't think actually affects Ultras. Correct me if I'm wrong, but a Stasis Trap I don't think affects Ultras. In fact, does it affect massive units at all? I would assume not. I would assume a Stasis Trap wouldn't affect massive units. I don't think I've seen the situation of it until just now, when that Ultra definitely would have gotten caught in it, if it affected it. Interesting. There it is. He's getting the double upgrades. He's doing the thing, guys. He's doing the thing we joke about when you get 2 buildings to build both upgrades at the same time. I love it so much. Hell yeah, Dark. He's also got a Nidus Worm. He's just going to Nidus around the map, it looks like. I mean, Dark, he's got this whole half of the map. Look at this creep spread. It's crazy. It's just taking up everything. I would love to see him take this base too, honestly. Nightmare wants to take this Nexus. He's going to start it up. A lot of Immortals under here. Those Immortals are really important because carriers do not do super well against Ultras. Like, they just don't kill them very quickly, so the Immortals are necessary. Those Ultras need to die. Speaking of which, Dark's going to dive in here. He's turning to fight, which I don't love. That Ultra Corpse just doing cartwheels there. The cancel is forced, or maybe just the kill. But that was pretty expensive for Dark. He's just losing stuff over here for free. But he's replacing supply. He wanted to spend that army so he could replace it. He's got Lurkers that just morphed. It's like 12 of those. He's got a bunch of Corruptors on the way. Building Spore Crawlers all over the place as more carriers are coming out for Nightmare. I think Dark is feeling very confident in his situation here in this late game. He doesn't have a ton of gas. That is one thing. We're seeing him take this gas right now. He's mining this one up here. Yeah, he's going to grab this one too. Doesn't have a ton of gas right now, and I feel like that's his biggest problem. Forces another cancel on this base. Oh, his Lings try to get in here. He's trying to kill probes. Can they get some probe kills? I believe the answer is going to be absolutely, as 9 probes go down. This gold base is no longer mining. The Lings will get killed here, but they've done their job. Viper's coming out now as well. Oh, Dark's going to start trying to encroach in here with the Nidus Worms. As Lings are causing problems in this base, there's some burrowed back here still causing problems in this base. And the Nidus Worm is going to get up. Nightmare has not responded to this at all. There's literally nothing in the Nidus Worm, though, because I don't think Dark expected that to get up. Nightmare's still not responding. He's like, oh, yeah, there's a Nidus Worm there. What is this? 2 Ultras and a Ravager walk into a bar. No. There's Blink Stalkers. RIP. Dark just being annoying, getting little bits of damage done here and there. He has traded 8,000 resources worth this game, and I still like this position for Dark. That being said, Nightmare's army is getting scarier and scarier because it's full of carriers and carriers. He's got +3 and +3 shields finishing up shortly. As more Lings drop in, a Nidus Worm gets into the main base. It's not a ton of damage here. This is so annoying to deal with. Whoa, more Lings coming out. Another Nidus Worm drops down to the main. Dark's starting to commit to this. The carriers could float over to kill this. Nightmare needs to do that. These are 3/3 Adrenal Lings. They are just going to dominate this. And Ultra pops out as well as that Ravager. Fleet Beacon getting hit. Carriers will go down. Burrow on the Ultra. There's an Observer, but he needs to actually go spot this. Dark is so annoying at this. Can he kill the Forge? Not quite. Oh my god, the Adrenalings make it so close, though. There are a lot of Lurkers here. There are Infestors. There are Vipers. There are Corruptors. The Lurkers are crucial, though. They are the anti-ground right now. There's not a lot of support for them. Some more Lings do come out, but the Storm's walking forward. Oh, big fungal. Do we have a Blinding Cloud here? I feel like a Blinding Cloud would be sick. Oh, the Infestors got to be careful. Dark needs to pull those Infestors away as the rest of the army comes through for Nightmare. That was only half of the army. Dark pulling back. His gold base is forfeit. Does have Lings running in over here. I don't think that's enough Lings, though. The Nidus Swarm in the main base gets cleaned up. Nightmare is holding on his side of the map right now. And he is pushing through the gold base. He's going to push through this base. Yep, Dark just going to evacuate. Does have more places to send these drones. Corruptor count is increasing. Lurker count is increasing. How many Infestors we have? Only 2 Infestors left and just the 2 Vipers for right now. I feel like Nightmare finally got into a scary enough army here to cause some issues. The heavy Archon count is really terrifying, I think. Hydra's running across the map and just dying. Okay, not a good idea. Nightmare finally gaining some ground back here. This is really nice. I cannot believe Dark is trying to take this base now. Kind of insane. Dark needs to take a really good fight against this army, I think. Otherwise, Nightmare has put himself in a great spot. And I think with all the creep clearing he's been doing, he might be able to take this base shortly. That Oracle tagged everything before it died. Good job, Oracle. Nightmare is trying to push for a fight. He wants to clear another base. He wants to force Dark to take a fight that Dark doesn't necessarily want to take right now. And Dark's going to have to pull these Lurkers into position. They do get stormed. Do we have Blinding Clouds or something? Parasitic Bomb going down on the carriers. I think the Corruptors crush this fight, but the Archons underneath are just making mincemeat of these carriers. However, that does mean the Archons are not fighting the Lurkers, and the Lurkers will win that ground fight. The carriers, one carrier dies. The Corruptors are mostly dead. Oh, there's a fungal. He's going to be able to finish that carrier off. Should be able to finish off the Colossus too. Maybe even get that Warp Prism. Hydras and Lings on the way here for Dark to resupply. Meanwhile, Nightmare is going for Void Rays to counteract the Corruptors, but Corruptors are not the name of the game for Dark right now, and I feel like it's a problem that Nightmare is building Void Rays. Void Rays are not going to be the good answer for him. Void Rays do not counter this army. And Dark's going to rush forward. He's got the Nidus Worm in here. Some storms do land, but Dark's got a lot of stuff in here. More storms coming down. The Lynx and Hydra's really susceptible to that storm damage, but there's so many Lurkers still here. 8 Lurkers still alive. 1 or 2 starting to go down as the storms come in, the Void Rays come in. I said Void Rays don't counter this army, but if their Hydras are all dead, then they absolutely do. But the Nidus is up. There's a couple of queens popping out of that Nidus, transfusing each other, transfusing the Nidus, transfusing the Lurkers as more Lings and Hydras come across, and Nightmare is forced to tap out as Dark, he takes that one good fight I was talking about, crushes the carriers. It was a pretty good trade, but that's just better for Dark, who'd been mining so much more in that time. Goes for the counterattack, and that's it. GG. Game number 1 goes to Dark. I do feel like Dark was ahead for the vast majority of that game, but Nightmare getting up to a really nice army, being able to clear a couple bases there, put him in a better spot than I would have thought. Ah, it's so fun. It's so fun watching chat with the 2-minute delay. Legoland sees that Protoss army, and he knows this is the army that Zergs just died to. This is not Zergs. This was Dark. This was Dark, and this is the kind of army he thrives against. these late game scenarios against players like Nightmare, unless Dark went for like a big roach attack that failed and he's late to his tech, if Dark is hitting his tech when he wants to, I will take him any day of the week against any Protoss with any late game army. His late game army control is so good. He's so good at zone control on these maps where he will give up those bases like he did in that game because he knows, okay, I'm not ready to fight this yet. I need to go do more to you, or I need to pull you back or pull you out of position. Dark will wait until the one moment when that army is not fully ready. And honestly, in that game, it's a pretty straightforward fight. I think Nightmare's army was in a good spot. But Dark's still just able to take the fight. Yeah, wow, Dark is goated. Yeah. It be true. It be true. Oh, it's so fun. The 2-minute delay is fun for stuff like that. Now let's get into game number 2 here. Spawning in on Amphion. It's a fun map. Spawning in the upper left-hand corner, we have Nightmare. Looking pretty good in that game 1, but definitely on the back foot for most of it. His opponent in the lower left-hand corner, it is Dark. Dark is such a scary player, man, because like I think a lot of what makes him scary is the like early game or even the mid game where he just has so many variations of cheese and aggression, right? Like straight up cheese sometimes. I've seen him proxy hatch with a 12 pool plenty of times. And, you know, lots of roach-based aggression. Ling Queen Niduses. He's got so many different versions of aggression at his disposal in the early game. And he's so good with them. And some of them too, like sometimes he will go all in on the aggression, right? He's just stops droning, no tech, everything's across the map. We're all in right now. And sometimes the aggression will start to feel all in, and then you look back and he's on 75 drones and his hive is halfway done. And you're like, how did you do that, Dark? Because the thing that I think truly makes Dark terrifying is that his late game is so strong. And he's so quick to tech. He generally has a very, very good idea of when he can drone, which I think is like the key to playing Zerg. Knowing when you can drone and when you can't. Much like the song says, you got to know when to drone him. And know when to hold him. Something like that. I think that's how the song goes. And Dark does. He knows when to do that. And if he can just get into his hive when he wants to, get into that late game army when he wants to, there are very few players in the world that I can see going toe-to-toe with him and coming out ahead in those late game scenarios. I've cast so many games between him and like Beyond or Cure, Classic, Nightmare, Hero. Any of these guys, we get to these late game scenarios, and Dark is so good. He's so good. His star sense, man. He's just got the star sense. He's got that X factor that really separates him from honestly every other Zerg. Like I feel like I don't think Serral has an X factor in the way that Dark does. Because when I say an X factor, what I mean is it's really hard to define what it is that makes Dark so good. Whereas I feel like with Serral, it's really easy to define what makes him so good. You can just like nail it down. Like Serral is good for very obvious reasons. He's just good. It's just pretty straightforward. I feel like Dark, if you look at a lot of the details, like he seems solid, but not maybe like he should be one of the scariest players in the world. But that X factor means that he absolutely is one of the scariest players in the world. It's a little bit harder to define what makes him that way. Well, Oracle getting a few kills here. The cheeky little 4 drone kills. So we do have the second one showing up as well. Phoenix following that too. I guess Nightmare wants to make sure to kill the Overlord. Ooh. Ooh. Oracle goes down. Only gets 2 more kills. R.I.P. Oh, this one's going to come back in. Oh my god, it's so low. It's so low. I'm riding solo. I'm riding solo. Lair starts up for Dark. I don't think he has any other tech going down just yet, so see where he wants to head with this. He has spotted the Phoenix that I believe has killed an Overlord and is looking for the second one. Nightmare, of course, following this up with Blink, +1, few gateways going down as he takes his third. And there's the Roach Warren for Dark, so. As expected, Roach Warren. Evo Chamber. See what upgrade he ends up going for, if it's going to be another +1 melee. That seemed to work pretty well for him last game. Ooh, but no, it is going to be missile attacks. So changing up the play style a little bit here. In game number 2. Infestation Pit goes down immediately as well. Okay, Dark. This Infestation Pit. See, here's what makes Dark so hard. This is a great example of why Dark is difficult to play against, and even difficult to cast. Infestation Pit can mean 3 different things, and for most players, it's really obvious which one it's going to be. And now I see this, it's going to be Swarm Host, right? But for Dark, literally could be any 3, pretty much at any point. I saw this Infestation Pit and I was like, oh, he's going Hive. Wait, maybe he's making Infestor so he can fungal the Blink Stalkers. Oh, no, it's Swarm Host. Those would be good on this map. But I don't know. I genuinely, it's like impossible to tell what he's going to do there. That being said, with the Nidus going down, this is classic Swarm Host Nidus action. This is... Dark won his World Championship off of this. It was like Protoss could not hold this. It actually just killed all the Protoss. Back in 2019. Now, Phoenix is going to spot this. He's going to know this is coming. And I feel like, based on the positioning, Nightmare's got to know what units those are. He drops down the Robo Bay in a second Robo. He's going to try to get into some splash damage. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. His Stalkers. Nightmare. Nightmare, please. Whoa, okay, he's sending them over here. Try to deal with this. Some Stalkers do come out. The one Swarm was getting lifted. The Stalker's going to go for it. Can they get it? They can. They can get it. Oh, they won't be able to get the Nidus just yet, though. Another Nidus coming up over on this side. Losing one Swarm at the start of this is a little painful, though, and those Locusts didn't end up getting anything done. I wouldn't have hated to see the Locusts just go to the main anyways, even though the Stalkers were there. Nidus in the middle of the map. Nightmare does spot this one with all the Lings nearby, but the Locusts are going to try to hit this fresh base. It does have cannons and a shield battery at it, so the Lings are going to come in and try to help out against this, and that is going to be a dead base, my friends. Locusts are pretty good. New Nidus comes up in the middle, but that will get killed immediately, so just one Nidus available on the map right now. As Colossi are coming out. Oh my God, the Fleet Beacon going down already. Nightmare is insane as he tries to retake this base. Colossi are going to be really good here against the Locusts. The new Nidus pops up. Where was that Nidus? Oh, it's right in the middle. You can hear where the Nidus is based on the sound. Ooh, as the Nidus will get killed, but a bunch of the Locusts pop. This army's going to have to back up. Some of the Locusts pop a little bit later. New Nidus coming up. The Lings are still here as well, as the Locust going to try to hit the front. The Ling's going to try to come in on the back. Can they get on top of these Colossi? The Colossi doing so much. The Roaches are here as well, but the Colossi both get back to the shield battery. They get healed up. The Nidus pops. The Swarm Hose get in and get out. Get in, loser. We're getting out of here. And Dark, not been able to get a ton of damage done so far. Killing the base once was really nice. But so far, Nightmare has played a really good defense. Oh, crab beetle over here. It's a cool looking crab beetle. Some cool looking locusts here. There's a few pop on this side of the minerals. The rest going to pop over here. Roach is trying to come in at the same time as the locusts target down the Nexus, and they kill the Nexus. Because, my God, their DPS is insane. Oh, the Roaches find a Colossus. They find a second Colossus. They will not be able to kill that one. Force Field here, and the Stalkers blink to block the Roaches. Beautiful job from Nightmare. Wow, he killed a lot of Roaches there with 2 Force Fields and a good blink. That's actually insane. Excellent, excellent micro from Nightmare. Finally getting a win for him because it's not been good so far. He's lost this Nexus twice. He's been stuck on 3 bases. Other than that, the trades have just been okay for him. Not super great. Yeah, I mean, we see the trades are even here, which is not usually good for the Protoss, especially when you're down in bases. Dark has got his 5th base on the way. Not a huge economy for Dark, though. 69 to 69 workers. But the Roaches defend this Nidus. And now a few Locusts split off to this base, and the rest are going up here. There is a Mothership out, though. Not a Mothership core, despite what my brain still wants me to say after 7 years. Cloaking Field is going to be really, really helpful. We've seen this as a defense against Swarm Host before, and it's just as good now as it used to be. Some probes do go down through this. Not the biggest deal for Nightmare, though. He needs that 4th base up. That's definitely a bigger deal here. Now the problem is there's already lurkers out. Dark has been teching up this whole time. He's got double Spire starts up, getting the lurker upgrades. He's got +3 missile attacks on the way. I don't think I ever noticed the Mothership attack noise. That's really cool. Cool noise. Good sound design, guys. Oof. This is really, really nice for Dark. The lurkers here with their 10 range, covering for the Locust, who are going to kill the Nexus a 3rd time. Some more Locust drop. Oh, my God. Well, I mean, Nightmare might be able to clean this, but it's still so painful. Yeah, he's going to send this away. Mothership just continuing to move on. He could recall. It's always a danger here. Mama? Careful. Careful, Mama. Taking a lot of damage. Does not have a lot of hit points. This Mothership. One lurker doing its best here before it gets taken out. Oh my God. No, dude. The Mothership crumbles to pieces as a queen kills it. That's painful for Nightmare. That's very expensive. He still has a very powerful army. More lurkers on the way. There are a few Vipers coming out now as well. Yoinking Colossi, always a good call. Locust getting sent through the center here. Looks like a few splitting off to the main, few splitting off to the natural. They don't have a lot of time left on them, but they can still get some damage done in the meantime. Oh, they're going to be able to target down a Robo. My God, they do so much DPS. Thankfully, they do have a short shelf life. Nightmare's going to keep trying to push through. The lurkers need to come over here and be ready for the defense. They need some friends, though. Where are the lurkers' friends? Uh-oh. All right, some Vipers do show up, and we get some yoinks on the Colossi. Here they go. Ooh, good save here from Nightmare, though. Actually, both of those Colossi stay alive. Oh, my God. Insane. Overlord's running in to die. Oh, as I say that, one of the Colossi goes down. Swarmo's going to pop out down here and pop some Locusts out. Mostly just fighting these Zealots right now. That's the problem for Dark. He needs to get on top of the probes or something. Well, it turns out he will anyways. Dark does lose a base on the other side of the map, but it looks like he might be able to kill 2 here. Actually, these Locusts getting bunched up. They're not going to kill that Nexus. As Nightmare continues trying to push through here. Where are the Lurkers? How many Lurkers are left? A decent amount, but not a ton. Only 8. Another Colossus gets yoinked, but feedbacks on all the Vipers. However, the Colossi are all dead. There's only 5 Lurkers left, though. 4. Oh, the Stalkers. There's a resupply coming out. The Swarm hosts are coming back from the Nidus, and they will have their Locusts available shortly here. I think he needs to pop those Locusts. Yep. Oh, Lurkers going down. I think that was the last Lurker. Oh, there's 2 more. There's 2 more. Dark is just barely holding on with what he's got, but the problem for Nightmare is his reinforcements coming out. It's not like Dark only has this. Look at the supply. And what does Nightmare have? Did this Nexus die? It did die to the Locust. Oh my god, there's only like 4 Locusts hitting it. How did they kill it? That's insane. Nightmare losing both of his Nexuses on the other side of the map. And I mean, he's just dead here. He is just dead. There's going to be so many Hydras out. This is really nice. This is a great catch. I still think there's just going to straight up be too many units out for Dark. He's ahead so much on supply, and I know a lot of that is in the Swarm host, but those Locusts could pop again here. I think it's just going to be too many Hydras. Just not enough for Nightmare, and it looks like Dark is going to be able to take the 2-0. As the Locusts pop again, they head towards a base that doesn't exist because Nightmare doesn't have the money for it. And they're going to get in here once again, and they are going to kill this Nexus for, I believe, the 5th time in this game. Shield Battery tries to heal it, does not succeed. And that's going to be it. Nightmare's fighting this out, but he's under 100 supply. He's losing more probes. The Storm is nice, but he's going to need more than that. Oh, and Dark's going to get the Nidus right in here, right in the natural. Using that little zone by the minerals to his advantage. Nightmare's doing his best, guys. He's trying. He's trying. This is not going to be enough. Colossus pops out and dies. The Nidus will go down, but there's a new one on the way. There's so many Locusts here. There's the GG. Dark takes the 2-0 victory. Swarm host Nidus, man, it's pretty good. Honestly, I thought Nightmare started out handling that quite well, but losing that 4th base 5 times in that game is actually insane amounts of damage.